Take a look out your front window. You see the house across the street, the family next door, and the cars parked along the curb. To you, they're just neighbors. You wave at them while taking out the trash, or maybe you don't even know their last names. But if the world stops tomorrow, if the power goes out, the stores lock up, and the police sirens stop wailing, those people become the most important variables in your survival. In a true crisis, your neighborhood will do one of two things. It will become a fortress of unity, or it will become a hunting ground of desperation. There is no middle ground. Today, we are breaking down the brutal sociology of the cul-de-sac. We're looking at the 3 types of neighborhoods, the tipping point of violence, and the 5 signs that your neighbors are about to turn on you. Is your street a sanctuary or a trap? Let's find out. Before we analyze the neighborhood, we have to kill a popular myth, the lone wolf survivalist. Movies love the idea of one man with a rifle and a mountain of canned beans holding off the world. But in reality, lone wolves don't survive. They just die tired. No matter how much gear you have, you cannot stay awake 24 hours a day. You cannot garden, scavenge, pull security, and cook all by yourself. Survival is a team sport. Your primary survival tool isn't a knife or a water filter. It's your social capital. If you don't have a community, you are just a supply cache waiting to be harvested by someone who does. The question isn't whether you need your neighbors. It's whether your neighbors are the kind of people who can be led or the kind of people who will lead the raid on your pantry. To understand how your neighborhood will react, we have to categorize where you live. Every neighborhood falls into one of 3 survival profiles. First is the high-density trap. These are apartment complexes in crowded urban blocks. The problem here isn't just the people, it's the math. Too many mouths, too little space, and 0 resources. In these areas, the collapse happens the fastest. Because there is no land to grow food and no space to hide, the competition for the few remaining resources becomes violent within 48 hours. Second is the suburban island. This is the most common. These are neighborhoods of single-family homes where everyone has a fence. On paper, they have potential. There is space for gardens and garages for workshops. But the weakness here is the privacy culture. Most suburbanites don't know their neighbors. In a crisis, that lack of trust leads to the fortress mentality, where everyone locks their doors and points guns at the street. This insulation makes the neighborhood easy pickings for organized gangs. Third is the intentional community or rural cluster. These are areas where people move specifically to be self-sufficient, or small towns where everyone has known each other for 3 generations. These are the gold standard. They have pre-existing trust, shared tools, and a common identity. In a crisis, these neighborhoods don't have to learn how to unite. They simply continue what they've always done. In sociology, there is a concept known as the 3 meals from chaos. It suggests that most people are only 3 missed meals away from committing a crime. In the first 24 hours of a crisis, your neighborhood will likely be polite. People will be out on their porches, talking, sharing rumors, and maybe even lending each other batteries or flashlights. This is the honeymoon phase. By 48 hours, the tone shifts. The realization that help isn't coming sets in. People start counting their cans of soup. They stop sharing. They start watching their neighbors' houses to see whose lights are still on or who is cooking food. By 72 hours, the desperation clock hits 0. This is the tipping point. If a neighborhood hasn't formed a unity council or a shared security plan by day 3, the social contract dissolves. Most people think the threat comes from outsiders, the roaming gangs or the looters from the city. But the data shows that in a localized collapse, the most immediate threat is the person who knows where you keep your spare key. It's the person who knows you have a generator because they heard it running last winter. Unity is a choice, but betrayal is a survival strategy. If the mask of civilization falls, the person you shared a fence with for 10 years might become the greatest danger to your family's safety. Here is how you spot the shift before the first window is broken. How do you know if your neighborhood is about to fall apart? Look for these 5 red flags. Number 1, the silence of information. When neighbors stop talking to each other and start avoiding eye contact, trust has evaporated. They are no longer looking at you as a friend. They are looking at you as a potential threat or a potential target. Number 2,
the hardening of perimeters. If you see neighbors who previously had open yards suddenly putting up plywood, stringing wire, or moving vehicles to block their driveways, the fortress mentality has taken over. They have decided to go it alone. Number 3, the smell of cooking. This sounds strange, but in a starving neighborhood, the smell of charcoal or cooking meat is a flare. If you see people hiding their cooking or only doing it at 3 in the morning, it means they are terrified of their neighbors. When people are afraid to eat in front of each other, the community is dead. Number 4, the absence of the vulnerable. In a healthy community, you see the elderly and the children being looked after. If the weak disappears from view, it means the able-bodied are focusing purely on their own survival. Number 5, the arrival of the strong man. In every crisis, a leader will emerge. If it's not a formal leader, it will be the most aggressive person on the block. If this person starts requisitioning supplies or telling people what to do through intimidation, your neighborhood hasn't united, it has been conquered. On the flip side, what does a neighborhood that unites look like? It starts with the skill audit. A united neighborhood doesn't just share food, it shares talent. One neighbor is a nurse, another is a mechanic, another is a retired carpenter, and another knows how to garden. When a community realizes that the nurse can't heal without the mechanic fixing the generator, and the mechanic can't work if he's starving, the web of necessity is formed. Unity requires 3 things. First, communication, a shared radio frequency or a designated meeting porch. Second, security, a rotating watch schedule. If the whole street agrees to watch the entrances, everyone sleeps better. Third, transparency, knowing who has what. This doesn't mean giving everything away. It means knowing that neighbor A has a well and neighbor B has a wood stove. When the grid goes down, your zip code becomes your country. Your street becomes your world. You can have the best gear in the world, but if your neighbor is hungry and has a brick, your gear belongs to him. The time to build a united front isn't when the sirens are screaming. It's now, while the sun is shining and the grocery stores are full. The question isn't whether you can survive the world, it's whether you can survive your neighbors. Do you know them well enough to trust them with your life? Because one day soon, you might have to decide who is an ally and who is an obstacle. The difference between a neighborhood that survives and one that burns is leadership. Someone has to be the one to bridge the gap. It doesn't take a survival expert, it just takes someone willing to organize. Start small. Get to know the names of the 3 families closest to you. Identify who on your street has a specialized skill. Have a what-if conversation, not a doomsday talk, but a what-if the power goes out for a week talk. Resilience isn't something you buy, it's something you build. Don't wait for the collapse to find out who your neighbors really are. Build the community you want to live in today so you can survive in it tomorrow. If you want our Neighborhood Skill Audit worksheet to help you organize your street, click the link in the description. And if you have a story about a time your community came together during a storm or a blackout, share it in the comments. Let's learn from each other. Stay safe, stay connected.